it's one thing to fight for a man who loves you, but you shouldn't fight for a man to love you. Now, remember that quote, because I'm going to break it down and help you understand the difference between those two things. But the reality is that many women, might be you, dealing with a man who is not showing you the attention that you desire. Now, this can happen in the dating phase. This can happen as his girlfriend. This can happen as his wife. So no matter which category you're in, you definitely need to pay attention to this, all right? And watch it all the way to the end. I need you to understand that I do not want you trying to fight a man for his attention. I do not want you trying to beg a man for his attention. But you need to also understand the pitfalls involved in this whole dynamic and what's the better way to approach all of this. Now, first thing I need to mention, and real quick, subscribe to the channel and be sure to like this video so more people can see it. The issue of fighting for his attention when another woman is involved, all right? Now, hopefully this is not applying to the married women, but let's be real, sometimes it does. And the reason why I need to talk about this first and foremost is because one of the unfortunate situations or dilemmas I see women finding themselves in is when another woman enters into the picture, all right? Whether it's, again, let's say in the dating phase, he's dating someone else, or maybe it's an ex of his, whatever the case may be. Or if you're married, maybe he did step outside the relationship one time with this woman and she's kind of there, or even if she's not, you just are aware of her now. It's very easy for a lot of women to get caught up in the competition mindset, all right? And so what I see is women fighting for this man, fighting for his attention, not out of, I love him so much, but out of, I refuse to lose to this woman. I will not allow her to have the upper hand. I will not allow her to be able to look at me like she took something from me. Now, sometimes, you know, it can get escalated because the other woman says certain things or does certain things to provoke you as a woman, all right? And maybe turns it into kind of a personal battle when in reality, the only person who was truly doing wrong here is the man. Now, outside of situations where if that other woman is a family member or a close friend, that's a whole different ballgame. But if she's a stranger, technically, may not like hearing this, but she owes you nothing as far as whatever she was doing with this guy, okay? But when she does interject and throw shade your way, that makes it even more likely for you to get caught up in the battle of you and her. And so being so lost in this battle causes so many women to, one, either try to, again, fight for this man's attention to where they are overcompensating and allowing him to get away with murder because the objective isn't his respect, it's his attention. And you can have a man's attention and not have his respect, all right? But because you're just focused on, I need her to know that he's giving me more than he's giving her, or I need to be able to say, I won this battle, you're fighting like hell for this man. So not only are you giving him a free pass on nonsense, losing sight of the real issue, all right, you're probably missing the fact that he ain't worth your damn time to begin with. Okay, now granted, if we're talking about marriage, listen, I'm going to be real. Sometimes the guy you married to ain't worth your time neither. I'm just being honest. I'm not saying I want you to get a divorce. You know, I would love for everybody to work things out if possible. But listen, a lot of people marry the wrong person for wrong reasons. All right. But let me also say, I don't want you to automatically assume every situation is unfixable. I'm using the word fixable very specifically, and I'll explain that a little bit more later. All right. But the point of this first part that we're discussing is just for you to make sure if the attention issue involves another woman, and Lord, this just hit my spirit, so I got to say it, because sometimes that other woman is his mother. Sometimes the battle that the woman has found herself in is the battle with his own mother. And now, again, it creates this dynamic where you're losing sight of the fact that you should not be battling anyone. He should be handling that. It's on him as a man to rectify this situation. And I don't give a damn what anyone thinks about that. It's the man's responsibility. He has to fix that. Now, your responsibility is to not make things worse. All right? Don't pour salt into the wound. Don't try to take your own jabs and throw your own shade and make his job harder to resolve this situation. But it is on him to step up and do something about it. You should not be battling with his mother or any other woman. But yes, it happens, and it creates this situation where so much is going wrong. So much is going wrong. So much of the root underlying issues are not being properly addressed. And again, you find yourself, some women find themselves begging and fighting this man for his love. And if you got to do all that, we got to start questioning, are you dealing with the right man? No matter what your relationship status is with him. Are you dealing with the right man if you got to do all that? Now, in most cases, the answer is no. In most cases. Again, there are some exceptions to the rule. We're going to shed some light on that. But ultimately, do not get caught up in these battles. Do not find yourself fighting for this man's attention. But I'm going to tell you some other things you can do that's better. So what I would like for you to do is, I don't want you to beg, don't want you to chase, don't want you to fight, so to speak, for his love, but I want you to talk to him, all right? And it's important because I know some of you might be saying, well, I done talked to this joker a bunch of times, and I've expressed how I feel. He's not listening. He's not changing anything. Well, first ask yourself, did you express yourself to him in a calm and loving manner? And yes, that matters. And if you've been watching enough of my videos, then you know I always talk about the need to properly express yourself. Because remember, the responsibility is on both the expressor of the message and the receiver of the message to be in the right mindset, to communicate properly, to listen properly, all these different things. So if you have not done that, then you have to say it again. Because expressing yourself in a fit of rage, in lashing out, in a moment of negative attitude, it is very likely that he did not receive your words. He may have heard it. He heard the audible sound, but it went in one ear, out the other. All right? Or he took it in, but he immediately got defensive. Because human nature is when we feel attacked, we will defend. There have been times where you knew you were dead wrong doing something, but because of the way someone came at you, you still defended yourself to the death, all right? Acting like they're the problem because you didn't like the way they were talking to you and came at you. So we have to be mindful of how we come at the individual. So when there is an issue of attention or a lack of attention in your relationship, again, don't confuse. Like I have a quote that says, you don't have to beg a man for what you never have to beg the right man, or I'm forgetting my own dang quotes. You don't have to beg him. The premise of it is you don't have to beg him because the right man will know what you need and deserve. But I believe that gets misinterpreted for he will already know, all right? Him understanding what you need and deserve comes from you being able to communicate it and him receiving it and then taking it, implementing it, okay? So maybe not he will know what you need, but he understands you deserve better when you make it known to him that he's not giving you his best, or when he's not giving you enough for you to find peace and happiness in this relationship. But you cannot expect him to read your mind. You cannot expect him to understand what level of attention that you desire, all right, and how you want it. And I know to you it may sound like, how can he be so stupid to not know like what I would want? And let me give you an example of how you may think a man is being very stupid. So I had a couple one time, a married couple. They were going through some issues, and one of the issues was a lack of attention. And the wife made the argument that, he doesn't spend time with me. He doesn't sit and talk to me. He doesn't just sit down and watch TV with me. So I spoke to him and I said, listen, man, this is her issue. These are her concerns. I want you to start spending some more time with her. And, when she's watching a show, sit down and watch the show with her. He said, okay, cool. Because he was generally trying to work on the relationship. So he wasn't a guy who was like dismissing this. He wanted to learn how to do better. all right? So he had a genuine desire for better. I got to stress that. So 2 weeks pass. I asked him, what's the update? The wife says, yeah, so he sat down and watched TV with me, but I was on this side of the couch and he was on that side of the couch. Now, to the man, it was, I watched damn TV with you. Like, what more did you want? You told me to watch TV with you. I did that. What did I do wrong? And so to you, it's like, how can you be so stupid? But it's not even about, it's not understanding the depth of your attention needs. It's not understanding the capacity of what you are looking for. And the unfortunate reality, if we're going to call it that, or we can, is that men need more details. All right? They don't, when you say, I want to hear from you more, what does that mean? Like, do you mean you want good morning texts? Does that mean we need to talk daily? Because to him, it's like, okay, if I've been calling you once a week and you tell me I want to hear from you more, well, twice a week is more. You know, I made it better. But to you, it's like, no, that's not enough. That's not what you were asking for. That's what you said with your mouth. You didn't explain in detail. So yes, you've got to be willing to talk to him. You got to be willing to be more detailed about what it is you're requiring. Now, I know some of you feel like, well, if you tell a man what you need and break it all down for him, he'll do it for a few weeks and then he'll stop. Or, you know, he's not really serious about the change. And I would argue, listen, if he shows you an unwillingness to be consistent, then that might just be the sign to you that you're in the wrong relationship. But I will say this. One of the big issues I've noticed is that when you are struggling with attention in your relationship or in your dating situation, you've got to be able to show him that this matters, that this is having a positive impact. And so I'm going to speak a little bit more on that later. So we're going to put a pin in that. But just understand there's a role you have to play to help with keeping up the consistency, all right? But ultimately, talk to the man. Be very detailed. Be calm, be loving, no begging, all right? No fighting, just expressing yourself in the right way. All right, so now the next thing I want to point out is the quote that I mentioned in the very beginning. It's okay to fight for someone who loves you, not for someone to love you, all right? So again, the difference in those two things is simply this. If you're with a man, for example, y'all have a connection, you guys love each other, and let's say outside influences are trying to derail your relationship. Let's say it might be family, it might be friends, whatever the case may be. This is a scenario where you can fight for him because you're fighting for a man who loves you, who now has to deal with attacks from outside of the relationship, all right? And I would hope that he is putting up a fight. But some men do struggle with standing up to their family and things of that nature. And there's nothing wrong if you take a little bit more initiative or be a little assertive in that situation because you know where his heart is at. And he does not show you a lack within the relationship. But there are, again, forces coming against it trying to derail it, all right? Or if, for example, you guys are at a distance and you guys truly love each other, but the distance is tough, right? So if you want to put up a quote-unquote fight to hold on to this relationship and trying to figure out how we can better navigate this distance, okay, that's more acceptable because, again, if this is a man who is showing you he genuinely loves you, he has been pouring into you, but he's just struggling, or these dynamics have just been difficult for him, that may be another reason why, okay, we can put up a little bit more of a fight. But to fight for a man to love you is to see a man who is not pouring into you, who may not be respecting you, who may not be treating you the right way. And let me be even more specific. He was never really on point. He may have had some things nice about him. He may have done some good things here, maybe a good thing there. But the whole totality of his behavior, of his energy and spirit towards you, you know deep inside, it wasn't really there. But you may be holding on to it for different reasons. And so now you're fighting to pull love out of him. You're fighting for him to express something because you're hoping he has the love in him to give you. But he hasn't really showed you that. He hasn't really given you, in your head, you may have processed it as enough reason to believe the love exists. But I would be willing to bet if an outside person was to evaluate the situation, it'd be a lot more clearer that no, that's not what's happening here. So you've got to be honest with yourself. And this kind of goes back to trusting your intuition. You got to know when you're trying to hold on to what's not there. And again, there's various reasons why that can happen. You might fight for someone to love you because you don't want to let go because you're afraid to be alone. It could be because you're afraid to start all over. It could be, again, you're afraid to walk away from the investment that you made. You're afraid to prove the naysayers wrong. Some people stay trapped. I don't like using the word trap. Some people remain in a relationship because they don't want all the people that told them this is the wrong person or you're doing the wrong thing to be right. And so they will fight tooth and nail to try to make this thing work. And all you're doing is making things worse. And there's various other reasons, but you've got to be real with yourself about why are you here? What's really causing you to hold on to him? And so here's the other thing when you're evaluating, am I fighting for a man who loves me or for a man to love me? The question to ask is, do you truly love him? I'm saying, are you genuinely in love with this man? Now, I know that can be a tricky question because so many people confuse love and those unhealthy attachments, all right? And so you may be saying to the world, yes, I love him, I'm in love. But I will say this. I believe that in most cases, if not damn near all, if you just take a step back, maybe even take a few days away from the relationship to gather yourself, to think, to remove the fears, and really just tap into what you're feeling and hearing on the inside of you, I think you will be able to say with clarity, if he's not that guy, that he's not. That the love is not truly there, that you're not truly in love with him, but you want it to work. You're hoping for it to be better. And when that is the case, it's time to let go. And you don't need to be fighting for him to give you something that he doesn't have to give you. Because the reality is that you don't have it to give him either. All right, so now, next on this list, and that last line may have punched some of y'all in the gut, but that's what I'm here for, but I do it with love. It's always with love. But the next thing is, rather than fighting for his attention, is make sure you're showing him attention. So one of the misguided approaches that a lot of people take is this idea of, okay, well, they're not showing me my attention right now, so I'm going to ignore them too, okay? And I say misguided because, granted, can it trigger people to then wake up and now give you some attention? It can, but it's reactionary. It's in the moment, all right? And what you're going to find yourself in is this situation where you may constantly have to do it with this negative approach of pulling back. But what you're overlooking, and what many who give this advice are not explaining, is that when you use negative things to try to get a positive result, you're planting negative seeds in the relationship. So now you pull away from him. And let's just say his lack of attention in that time was genuine mistake, him getting caught up in life, maybe him not understanding the depth of your needs. You now give him reason to question, how serious is she about me? Can I truly be vulnerable to her? You know, will she leave me? God forbid he has an abandonment issue, which there's a lot of men right now who got abandonment issues. And so now you pulling back can trigger the abandonment issue. Now, granted, he needs to heal from that. He needs to address that. But I'm explaining to you how this negative approach, this game playing trick, even if it gets you the current result of him bringing back his attention, you're setting the stage for problems later. So the actual better approach, the more effective approach is, if you're not getting the attention, give the attention. Because now, if you pour attention into him, we've eliminated the bad seeds being planted. There's no bad seed in you giving attention more. That's not going to happen like that. But we also get to see if the issue is a matter of this guy just not being it. Because here's the thing, if he's not really the guy for you, or if he's a guy trying to use you, take advantage, whatever, you giving him more attention will not inspire him to pour back into you. Because he's looking to take advantage. He's looking to use, all right? The man who's genuinely about you and serious about the relationship, but again, may just be having a moment or whatever the case may be, that attention you give him will draw him into where now he will pour back. So you'll actually get to see in a positive way where this man stands. But of course, I wouldn't want you to just simply give more attention. I would still want you to express your needs and talk to him, like I mentioned in the earlier point, while you are increasing your attention towards him. But again, doing the good things will allow you to either pull out the good or expose the bad without you planting negativity into the situation. So be mindful of that. Consider that, because a lot of women, when they're not getting the attention they want, they don't think about the fact that you may have been neglecting him too. And that he may simply be pulling back because he did not get what he needed from you. Now, again, it does not make his approach okay, because I just said pulling back is not the right way to really do it. But I'm explaining that that might be the reason why it initially happened. And then what needs to also happen is this. If this is a scenario that can be fixed, or is fixed after you show your attention, you talk to him, you guys have to discuss, how do we handle this moving forward? So let's just say he says to you, yeah, you know what? I thought, I felt like I wasn't getting love from you. I felt like you weren't there for me the way that I needed, so I kind of pulled back. All right? Don't be offended in that moment. Don't retaliate. Just be like, okay, well then how can we handle this better so that we don't have this issue anymore? How do we make sure that we, in a healthy manner, discuss and handle when a lack of attention is happening on either side? And that will enable you guys to grow from the situation rather than fall further apart. Because again, taking that negative approach, you might get what you want in the moment, but you will fall further apart in the long run. But the positive approach, you will grow closer together. Now, before I get to my next point, let me help you with some more tools and tips to get what you need and deserve out of a relationship, to be cherished and loved the way that you desire. Had to put a little something in there. Get the book, How to Get a Man to Cherish You. Do not let the title trigger you. Trust me. Again, I'm not trying to make it about just serve the man and do for him and all that. It's a way for you to get what you need, what's going to make you happy, and it's going to help strengthen relationships. And even if you're single, read it, because it's going to be extremely helpful to you. So again, get the book. You can go to www.becherishedbyhim.com or click the link in the comment section or in the description. All right, so next point to make, instead of chasing or fighting for his attention, this is what I want you to do instead, is to make sure you show appreciation when he does give you the attention, all right? So remember I mentioned earlier about the role that you play in the man being able to consistently keep this up, all right? And so again, the scenario that I see play out so many times, and this is especially with married couples, is where, let's say the married couple's been going through some stuff for a good minute, right? To the point where the woman is tired and she is frustrated and she's done with this mentally. But she's trying to see if we can make this work. But in her head, it's, I've been fighting for so long, it's his turn to step up, right? So we'll have this counseling session, and then she's expressing all the things that he's not doing right. And there might be some things that she needs to do too, but in her mindset, she's like, listen, I've been trying to do my part for so long. He needs to show me that he's for real if I'm gonna step back up and be what I need to be for him, right? Which is not a healthy approach. But let me explain further. So the husband or the boyfriend, whatever, I'll be able to, in my own way, get him to give it a try. Like, come on, bro. Let's just do this. Let's just see, okay? Let's give it 30 days, maybe. And what will happen is, let's say it's week 3. We don't even get to 30 days. Let's say it's week 2 or week 3. And I'm like, so what's going on? And I can't tell you how many times I've heard this. The man will say, man, I've been doing everything, but it's like nothing is working. And what he's saying is, I'm trying so hard to show her, okay, I'm for real and I'm willing to do these things, but I'm not seeing any reciprocation. I'm not seeing any appreciation. I'm not seeing anything. Now, granted, I believe in, if you do the crime, you got to do the time. And so I understand that some, as a woman, and sometimes for the man, depending on who may have violated the other, so to speak, right? If that's involved in the situation, they may need a little time to warm up. I get that. I get it's very hard to just out the gate be very receptive when you feel like, you've been getting beaten down emotionally for so long. But you've got to fight yourself, or you've got to try hard to show some level of acknowledgement and appreciation. Because the way, especially when we're talking about men trying to do better, because the way men are conditioned, or the way that men are wired, is that if they don't see something working, they figure, why do it? They're not going to keep doing something they feel like does not produce any results. So he needs to know, at the very least, we're moving in the right direction. You're seeing my efforts. And when you show an appreciation for his attention, he's much more willing to keep doing it if he's genuine and serious about the relationship. So it goes back to, when you pour good into a situation, you will either get more good or you will expose the other person. So if you show appreciation, so some of y'all may say, well, nah, if I let him think he's doing good, he's going to stop. If he stops because you show appreciation, that is your proof he's not serious. The man who is serious is not going to stop because you're actually showing him you're loving it. He's not. Because he's going to enjoy that appreciation. He's going to enjoy that reciprocation from you. So you're going to see things so much clearer by pouring the good into it and trying to meet him halfway, so to speak. All right? So be mindful of that. Show appreciation while he's making his effort. And let's not just wait till things have hit the fan and we're going to counseling. No, even in the dating phase, even in any phase, be mindful to just sometimes say, I appreciate the things you do for me. Thank you. Like, some of y'all may think, why I got to say thank you? Like, appreciation breeds production. And again, if I was talking to men right now, I'd be telling them the same thing. Acknowledge your partner's efforts. That is going to pour great things and allow you guys to grow stronger together. So now the next one, some of y'all may not like this, but the next thing to do is be willing to take accountability. All right? So what I mean by that is this. There's a lot of scenarios where sometimes the lack of attention he's showing you is because he's suffering from a disease I call I'm sick and tired of her ass ascites. Okay? Very similar to I'm sick and tired of his ass ascites, all right? And the man gets so fed up, maybe because, again, he feels underappreciated, undervalued, he's not getting the love and reciprocation from her, and he ends up pulling back and withdrawing. Or she may even be disrespectful towards him. There are, again, I deal with so many different people, and I can tell you there's a lot of cases of women being disrespectful towards the man. Some of y'all may think, well, there's a reason for that. Listen, some women are just disrespectful, and they gotta learn to watch their mouth sometimes, the way they talk to their partner. But yes, this can cause the man to pull back. So now what happens is, okay, he's not showing attention because he's feeling some kind of way or whatever. And let's say you address him. And now he says to you, well, listen, I feel like you talk to me disrespectfully, boom, boom, boom. And he starts mentioning the things that he's taking issue with that has caused him to pull back. If in that moment you dismiss his concerns and his feelings, and you push back, and you retaliate, anything like that, or respond negatively, all you're going to do is make things worse. You're not going to make it better. If you really want to solve the issue, you've got to be willing to take accountability and say, you know what? Okay, even if you don't fully agree, and I tell this to men all the time, sometimes we have to at least start with acknowledging the person's feelings. We may not be at a moment that we fully grasp and agree, but we can at least acknowledge. So we can at least say, okay, I understand if that's how you felt. I did not think I was doing that. I did not understand I was doing that. But if that is a problem, let's work on it. So you see how I'm not saying my mindset was I agreed I was being disrespectful, but I understand that that's how you received it. All right. And because I care about the relationship, I'm willing for us to figure out, okay, how do we solve this? How do we correct this? All right. In a way that we're both comfortable with. This is where compromise comes in. And so if you, again, don't take accountability, you stunt the ability for that situation to be resolved. And you've got to be willing to embrace it and not be so quick to take offense. Because I think sometimes the woman says, no, you're trying to blame me for you not giving me attention. It's not necessarily blame you, but it is a contributing factor. It is a reason. Now, again, it doesn't make the man withdrawing like that okay and healthy. Not what I'm saying. I'm explaining to you what happens and how to better navigate it, all right? And your willingness to take that accountability will allow you to diffuse the situation and actually get to a better place. Because again, when I titled this, Never Fight for His Attention, it's not don't attempt to resolve. It's just I don't want you getting in this mindset of fighting and chasing and all this stuff in a situation that isn't meant to be fixed. But if you take the right approach, you will get to see if this is fixable and if you are dealing with the right person or not. Now, the last and possibly the most important, or one of the most important things, they're all really important, for you to remember is never be afraid to lose him more than you're afraid to lose yourself. So though I've given you a lot of things to think about and process as far as how you can resolve these situations, how you can gain more clarity with what kind of man you're dealing with, and in some cases where you may just have to accept he's not the guy. What I don't ever want you to do is to lose yourself in the process. Now, I feel the need to make this very clear, because some of you may view yourself as, I don't take no crap, all this soft, sweet talk, that ain't who I am. Like, I don't do that, right? And I would argue, no, that's not who you are. That's a defense mechanism, all right? And you've got to let that wall down. So when I say don't lose yourself, don't hold on to negative perceptions of who you are. If you think having an attitude is who you are, that's not true. If you think being so blunt to the point that you are rude, because yes, a lot of people love to say, no, I'm just real. No, you're rude, all right? And listen, I'm a recovering a-hole. Once upon a time, I was that guy who was so blatantly blunt. I didn't care what you think. And my defense was always, I'm just being real. No, it lacked tact. It did not consider the feelings of the people I was conveying the message to. And to me, when you think like that, you're more focused on pride and not progress. And you got to go into these interactions with people focused on progress. What is going to give me the best chance to resolve this or come to the best conclusion for this situation, whether that be separating, going in different directions or coming together even stronger. But with all that said, again, I don't want you to lose yourself. I don't want you to compromise your beliefs and your values trying to hold on to this man or get his attention and all these different things, because if you have to do all that, it's not worth it. And you got to be able to be yourself. Listen, my goal is to help you have, one, a healthy relationship with yourself. And of course, if you know me, a healthy relationship with God, but also healthy relationship with a man, the man who is right for you, the man who loves you for who you truly are at your core. So I don't want you being something you're not. I don't want you getting caught up in the fight, all right? I want you to think clearly. And that's why taking a step back, praying, tapping into that intuition is going to help you. Try not to be too reactive. A lot of times when women find themselves in these situations where they're just fighting, is because they're just reacting. They're not taking a step back and allowing themselves to process and really think things through. And again, I believe that prayer will assist in at least taking a better approach, a more effective approach. So one quick bonus, all right? Since, God came up, so I got to talk about it a little bit real quick. So, I gave you all these things to consider again, but ultimately, when I talk about praying about it, talk to God. Like, not just pray and, Lord, make this work out and make him the right man or whatever. No. God, is he for me? God, should I even be trying to fix this? Now, here's the thing you got to understand. Even if he's not the man for you, and ultimately you're going to have to walk away, that doesn't mean to not take the positive approach in this situation. It's not a free pass to act a fool, okay? It's not a free pass to go curse him out or whatever. Because if you leave on a negative note, for many people, that negativity lingers within them. And it contributes to a lack of healing. It contributes to now them projecting it onto the next person. You want to, if within your power, because you can't control everything, he might be the one pouring nothing but negativity into it. He may be the one lashing out, all that kind of stuff. We can't control that. I need you to make sure you spoke your piece, All right. And that's really important because I think when you get into the habit of suppressing and not fully expressing yourself, you now carry that habit onto other relationships and you hinder yourself to see success with other people. So you want to practice, even with the people who aren't for you, to just be honest, forthcoming, and get things off your chest. All right. And again, just handling it the best way possible, because look at that situation as kind of a boot camp. It's giving you a level of training. Not that I want you to stick around holding on to this joker for Lord knows how long to get training, but I do want you to understand, okay, whatever obstacle you're facing right now is an opportunity to learn how to handle this properly. And that will equip you with being better in your next situation rather than being worse. So consider that. But again, talk to God, ask God, listen to your spirit, and do what is truly best for you. Thank you for watching this video. Now I want you to check out this next one where I tell you what he's thinking when he's ignoring you. There's a quote that says, "They will ignore you until they need you." And that's as real as it gets. But the reality is that being ignored is a very stressful, hurtful experience